Welcome to the City Current Radio Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, powering the good in our community. And we're honored to kick it off talking about Safe Haven. We are joined by their CEO, Joyce Lavery. And how are you doing, Joyce?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Jeremy, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, let's start with some background. Give us some history on Safe Haven.
You know, Safe Haven has been in this community over 36 years. And we've always been in the family homelessness arena. Our mission has changed slightly, but the core of our mission is we've been serving families experiencing homelessness since 1984. And, you know, we still continue that today. Of course, how we do it's a little bit different, but we provide all kinds of services to the families we serve. And, you know, we had started as a smaller organization and we have grown just exponentially. Unfortunately, because the phenomenon of family homelessness has also grown in the community, and we've grown to try to meet that demand for our services. But the way we work is we meet families where they are. So families come to us. We have a wide range of family stories, but we do serve only families with children, with at least one child under the age of 18, single parents, single dads, single moms. We've even have had multi-generational families where there's a grandmother or an aunt that lives with that family unit. So we serve the whole family. We make sure that family achieves stability. And the primary vehicle we use is housing. It's one of those things. Housing is fundamental to fighting homelessness. So we really look when families come to us to make sure that we have a housing plan quickly and get them housed. And then we wrap services around them and knowing that every family has a different need. So, you know, the history is quite complex in many ways because it has changed and we actually merged with another organization in the early 90s. But now we've become this larger organization. We are a leader in this field and we are not the only organization that serves homeless families or others that we partner with, but we are the only organization, the premier organization that only serves homeless families. So we're leaders and we're experts.
Share a little about where the process starts in terms of the referrals and the families finding you and then putting them on that path.
That's a great question. And again, that has changed and evolved over the years as well. Our community has followed a best practice called coordinated entry. And we have actually been a real partner in getting that started, but it does live with Metro Social Services. And families have one number. The old model is families would call Safe Haven. They might call another organization. We're full, we're full, we're full. And there's a lot of frustrations. And you can get that having to tell their story over and over again. So with the model of coordinated entry, the idea behind it, and that works, is they have one number to call. They're assessed at that very entry point, like what they need, and then they're matched with the services available in the community. They know our availability. They may be assessed where they don't need a shelter. They might be able to get in housing right away, or maybe they need a service that helps them also look at issues around addiction or other complex issues that maybe we don't serve. So we cut down on the frustration of a family going through several different points. Maybe not even having a phone they have, or maybe that's all they have. I can't imagine how frustrating that is. So we have cut that down. So we've worked very closely with the city and other organizations. And I know of the referrals, I think 2/3 of families do come through Safe Haven. So again, we do kind of lead and serve most of the families in our community that need services, those that are experiencing homelessness.
How has the pandemic affected not only your operations, but the families that you serve?
You know, obviously, it's a hard time for everyone. It's almost been a year, if you can believe it, at the beginning of March, because I remember very clearly when the pandemic started, we very quickly pivoted. And, you know, I know that's a word we all use, but we quickly pivoted and shifted our model. Families had a hard time dealing with it. They're having these other crises. You know, they're not housed. They might have lost jobs. Then they have to deal with a lot more constraints on movement and confusion, you know, especially a year ago. You know, so we try to take that burden off the families. I know one of the things that we did fairly quickly, we decided not to use our shelter as a shelter. We actually started using the hotel system. We had many partners, the extended stay models where there may be a small kitchenette or place to prepare some meals, a small refrigerator, and we serve families there. The great news about that is the families that we serve did not have to miss a beat. We actually exceeded our goals last year. And another issue around families, because we do serve families with children, is a lot of the families didn't have their children in school. And I know what a challenge that is for staff. We have a lot of staff with young children. I have people in my life with young children trying to figure out how to balance work and children, especially a lot of our clients work in industries, perhaps there's not a lot of options to work from home. Some jobs, I've been able to work remotely quite effectively most of the time, but a lot of the jobs our families have, if they had a job, did not allow that. So you have to figure that out. And it's a lot harder. So we walk with those families and figure that out with them. One of the things I'm most proud of in our service model is we do have a staff member solely devoted to serving the children of the families that we serve. And Hope is her name, and I love her name. She gives our families hope. But we made sure that those children had a computer. I know Metro Social Services made that available, but if you don't have internet, so we had to help our families coordinate all of that. We work with volunteers. That every family we served had a learning station. We called it Learning Station, where we were able to get donations of desk, study areas, chairs, books, everything that child would need. Make sure they had their computers, make sure they had internet service, and Hope would work with our volunteers to make sure there was resources for those children to continue learning. So I know it was really a struggle. So we were there for our families and for their children. We would bring food boxes to our families as well. But the biggest goal is when families were in those hotels, that we got them in permanent housing as quickly as possible so that they could have that stability and didn't have to live in a little bit of a tumult. But it worked out as well as it could have. Another thing, getting back to children's programs, we always celebrated our children's birthdays when they had a birthday when they were in the shelter. Since we didn't have the shelter open during these months, when a child we served in one of the hotels had a birthday, we would make sure that we had presents for them delivered. We would have drive-bys. We'd have board members, volunteers, staff go in their cars and go in front, honk their horn, say hello, deliver presents. So we did that for Halloween. We did that for holidays. So we adapted in very creative ways. Not ideal, but we wanted to make sure our families didn't feel left behind because of the pandemic, because of the constraints on movement and where they could be. We wanted to make sure those children felt cared for and loved, and those families had hope that they would transition to a stable home as soon as we could make that happen.
You mentioned exceeding your goals last year. Mm-hmm. Give us an idea of some of the stats that you look at as success metrics and, kind of what you're looking at for 2021 and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great question. Our goal has been the last few years to house at least 100 families. And we didn't know when the pandemic started if we were going to be able to meet that goal. 2020, we housed 120 families. We're so proud of that. We served 370 families because we also have a prevention model as well to help families on the verge of homelessness, about to be evicted, that we can help them, whether it's pay the rent, get a job, be stable. So we've exceeded our goals, and we measure success not only with how long it takes us to get our families housed, but that they are stable in their home at least a year. That's how we can track them. We actually went up. I think we were at 83% of the families we serve were able to maintain their stability at least a year outside of our program once they're in their own housing. And we know if we can get to that metric, the chances that they'll remain housed remains high. So that is how we measure success.
Give us an idea of maybe one or two other, whether they're programs or things that you want everyone to know about Safe Haven.
Oh, thank you. Um, well, I think that we are so unique in that we stay with the family a long time. Um, we want the time between when they come into the homelessness system or the shelter system, that we want to get them to housing as quickly as possible. That we are a rapid rehousing, housing first model. That is really core to who we are. And I know that's rather new in the community. And I think one of the things I want the community to know, it works. It works to get families into housing. We want them to have a normal life. We want them to know the stability of a home. And we know from the research is once they're in their own home, other aspects of their life can improve. And it's better to serve families if they have other issues they want to address, whether it's budgeting, et cetera. We have multiple partners in the community too. I mean, we work very closely with the Family Empowerment Program. We work with other agencies, Catholic Charities, Salvation Army, and that's really important. You cannot eliminate homelessness on your own. It is a community project, and it takes a lot of community partners to do that. So very proud that we are so invested in the community model. So I do want everyone to know that. The children's program, as I mentioned, is also very, very important because homeless children, we know enough about the impact of homelessness, even a small episode of homelessness on children and how that delays learning and sometimes social and emotional development. And so we want to interrupt that pattern and make sure children and youth that fall into homelessness, that we get them back up, that we help them interrupt that cycle, and so that they can feel like they're housed partners in schools and they have every opportunity, that we bring that kind of opportunity and equity to them. We also have a pretty robust, we want to grow it all the time, employment navigator and program. So we want to make sure our families, because you can't maintain stability in a house without income. We do house our families before they have income sometimes, because we know it's hard to look for a job if you're homeless or in your shelter. But we have, a program that helps those families find employment, match employers to their particular needs, and also looking at training programs and looking at kind of long-term, not just get a job. If they have a job, can you get a better job? So we really want to make sure the families that we serve have every opportunity to become stable. And that takes housing, number one, but it also takes looking at the child. It takes looking at employment. It takes looking at setting long-term goals. So we have programs that are very comprehensive to help families achieve the goals that they want to achieve.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wrap up with how we can help. And I know that in-kind donations of things that would go to furnish a home are really important. And you have a wish list on that side, mentorship, obviously financial contributions. Talk about the ways we can help, and then obviously where we go to help. So website and contact information.
Yes, please do check our website, www.safehaven.org. We keep that up to date. It's very comprehensive. Right now, because we do move families into housing pretty quickly, that we always need furniture that are gently used. We have partnerships, but you need a call and you need to make an appointment. All of that is on the website. One thing that's important we take for granted is most of our families don't have anything when we move them into a home. We need beds for our families. So purchasing of mattresses, and that is part of our Hearts for Homes program, to make sure they have basic needs, that, when they move in day one, they have a bed and they have some basic pieces of furniture that they can build on later. We want them to have that absolute dignity of having basic needs met. We always need bedding, pillows, towels, household goods. Just if you moved into a house or you moved a college student into a dorm, there's certain things we all need, and they're on the list. I mean, microwaves, vacuum cleaners, our families need those things just like you do. And we don't want them to use their own finances when they're just getting out from under homelessness on basics. We'll help them set goals later on. We also have two wonderful events. We actually have our Dancing for Safe Haven next August. We did not do it in 2020. So we really kind of encourage sponsorships or participation. We also have our hike that's annual. We did it virtual this year, very successful. Hopefully we can have it in person. This is an event that the whole family's invited to. Just a cost any money to participate, but we hope you're a partner in helping us raise money. Lots of family-friendly events and activities, a hike, and music. It's always just fun and festive. So there's a lot of ways for the community to get involved that are fun and be a part of our events. Right now, because we are not at full capacity because of the pandemic, we don't have our monthly, what we call lunch and learns. But watch online, because hopefully we'll bring those back mid-year. But it's a way we invite the community to do a tour and come look at all the opportunities to volunteer, to give, to get involved, to meet staff, to hear our stories, to get to know, how we actually serve our families. So there's a lot of things that we always need. Go online. Oh, and another thing that a lot of people get excited about, we're one of the few shelters that take babies. And we've been having a baby boom this year. So there's a lot of families that we've served. So we always need things for babies, and that will be online as well. Go check our Facebook page as well, because when we have a need, like we have a family with a baby, they need a car seat, we put it out there. It's incredible how generous this community and how fast acting. So if you're interested, like in helping in the moment, we always keep that up to date on Facebook. And if we have a need, it is right there. And like I said, I'm always touched and moved, the generosity of the community, where we have a need, crib, car seat, blankets, pillows. We ask for the communities there to help our families succeed.
Yeah. Well, make sure everyone visit the website, safehaven.org. Joyce, thank you for all you and your team do. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeremy. Have a great day.